Casieleighshepherd, health coach here, bringing you guys more information and education all the time. The more that you understand and the more that you know, the better decisions you can make, the more you can turn into your own body, see what's going on, or even just make your workout goals and your health more efficient. The more efficient your body runs, like the less hard you have to work and the better your system runs overall. And sometimes people are doing so much more than they need to be doing. And really, they need to back off, or they could just change a few things that would really make such a huge difference. And I like to talk about both men and women, but today I want to specifically talk a little bit more about women and central nervous system, what we call CNS fatigue. And the problem is, we have evolved so much as a culture. Women are working full-time jobs. We're not just taking care of the kids and the family, but we are working full-time jobs. We have all this stress on top of it. We have the kids, all that stuff. And so there is just so much more stress we have in our lives than ever before. Women were not designed to endure the amount of stress that we currently are as a culture. And on top of that, we have this visual, psychological stress with social media. We are not designed to be able to intake that amount of information, the amount of digital stuff that's coming at us. Our brain is having to process so much more than it usually is. And all of those things affect our nervous system and affect our stress levels. And it's why having downtime is super important, but most people don't have that downtime, or they're too hard on themselves for having downtime, so they can continue to keep themselves booked. And even if they have some downtime, it's not really truly enough to keep the system bounced back. So over time, that just starts to create more and more stress on the body. And that's where we see a lot of these hormonal imbalances. And it's not just ever going to be diet. It's not just ever going to be workouts. It's not just going to be a hormonal imbalance or some supplement you need. You really have to look at everything. And at the point where something's feeling off or you're not responding right, usually it's a combination of a few things. And that's why I do the coaching piece, because we look at all of these different aspects. We look at your life stress. We look at your hormone profile. We look at the way you're training. We look at the amount of cardio that you're doing. And we look at a lot of the things that you've been through. And so trauma, physical, emotional trauma, and in itself will continue to trigger the nervous system. Okay, everything comes down to that nervous system. But then on top of that, emotional, psychological stress day to day with work environment or relationship issues. Then you have the kids, so you're completely emotionally stimulated all the time from that. A lot of that chronic ongoing stress, even if it's very minute over time, can create a lot of hormonal imbalances with estrogen dominance. As stress lowers progesterone levels, it can affect the thyroid levels, it can affect your glucose and your blood sugar, leading to weight gain, leading to insulin issues, leading to thyroid imbalances, all those other things. So if you, at the point where you've had this just little mini underlying chronic stress, throughout all these years, and then you add on a relationship stress, then you add on this full-time job, then you add on children, and then on top of that, women will fall into a couple categories. There are some who have a good balance with their workouts, where they're doing, they're staying in the gym, they're staying active, they're getting in a few workouts a week, which is great. You have the women that are completely sedentary, that are doing zero benefit to themselves. And then you have a lot of women that are in the other category of overdoing it in the gym, and they think, because I'm so stressed, I'm going to continue to take it out in the gym and work it out and try to get my weight down that way. And the problem with that is that because you already have all this stress on your system, you start to put yourself kind of in a overly negative spot and overstressing your nervous system on top of that. And a lot of women that are overtraining, some of them are runners, some of them just feel like they need to be doing way more than they do, but there are a lot of people who are doing all these boot camps and high intensity classes on top of that. Um, and high intensity work is going to be a lot harder on your nervous system. It's a lot harder to recover from, versus like low intensity work, would be like a mild cardio or like a weightlifting session, just like straight hypertrophy strength training. Um, and so you have different varying kinds of workouts. And this is the part that's hard, is like tuning into what people are actually doing. And that's the part of like one-on-one coaching that I like to have control of, is like writing the workouts, not because you might not know what you're doing, but having control over how much you're doing, the intensity that you're doing it, and making sure that you're not over training on top of that. And so a lot of people are addicted to that stress because they've been just in it for so long that they don't know how to kind of slow down in life. And also same with their workouts, like they don't know how to take their workouts easier. So then when they do, they're doing these high intensity spin classes and boot camps and going hard or running and doing all this stuff that's just like also putting so much stress on the nervous system. So just to like, I always just like to do perspectives, because I think it's easy to be like, oh, you're overstressed, or oh, you're working out too hard. But when you break down all these different categories to start talking about a lot of the different kinds of stress, the way that it impacts, the way that your system starts to like react to it, it really does make sense that people are overdoing it. And it's hard because at the point where someone's doing all these things, they have all this stuff going on and they're overtraining, they don't know where to start, or you don't know how to start, because there is just so many moving parts. And that's where I like to do the assessments. And the assessments aren't just like, oh, here, take these supplements and you're going to be good now. The assessments are like, hey, here is our starting point. This is what you've been through. This is what you're doing now. So this is how you start. This is how you begin to heal and move forward. But with that being said, you have to be also making these other lifestyle changes. You have to be able to relax more. You have to be able to, X, Y, and Z. So if you're, falling into this category of overworked, overstressed, it's not just about weight loss. I mean, for most people that start looking this stuff up, they may have like chronic fatigue, or they may feel exhausted all the time. They have really bad sleep. So you may care more about your symptoms than anything else. But a lot of these women are also struggling with weight loss issues, or that last 10 pounds they can't get off because their system is just like holding it all. So your nervous system will, if it's in this like fight or flight mode all the time, in this state of stress, your body kind of just holds to preserve. And so it's not just a calorie thing. It's not just a whatever. But you may overtrain, you may over whatever, you may not even be eating enough, which leads to more stress. But then you may have days where you're eating like crap because your body is so stressed and your blood sugar's all over the place, and then you can't stay on your diet. So there's a lot of different ways that this stuff starts to come out. And it's why I like to do the one-on-one consulting and educating, because we can dive into your lifestyle, your habits, what you're feeling, how it's showing up in your labs, how it's showing up in your life, and how you're overcompensating for it in the wrong ways. Because it's not just that you're wrong. Most people are in just like doing all that they know. They don't know any different. And so it's just about learning and educating. Again, like I said, just kind of my big thing with doing these is helping people understand things in a different way. So if you are interested in doing a deep dive on yourself, working one-on-one with me in many different ways, please reach out to me through my email. You can contact me on my website. You can contact me through my social media. All are linked below.